I haven't really necessarily ever given you the full life story as to who Mike Schulte is. I wanted to do something a little different. Well, I wanted to share about me with you. So I figured the best way to do that is ask you what you wanted to know, as well as tell you some cool stories from my life. So today, you're gonna learn a little bit about Mike. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. Mike was born on a very tiny island in the Atlantic called Long Island. Actually, I was born in Manhattan, but I was raised in Queens. My parents still live in the same house. We may no, we're not gonna show it to you. We're gonna go to the car now and we'll talk more.
So you want to pull up some questions?
So yeah, but while you're pulling up some questions, I want to talk to you. I want to tell you a little bit about me. What I've realized is I talk to you guys a lot, and I come to you from a lot of places, and I give you my perspective on things, but I don't always tell you who I am. I haven't really necessarily ever given you the full life story as to who Mike Schulte is. So I was born in Queens. My parents still live in the same house that I grew up at in Rego Park. Went to college in Western New York, in a small little town in between Rochester and Buffalo. And then I came back and I've lived in Queens ever since. I am down like almost 31 pounds right now as of a couple days ago. I haven't got on the scale because I don't want to. But we'll see. Probably in that same range.
Alright, do you want to do business stuff or personal stuff?
Personal stuff, not business stuff.
Okay.
So what we did, hold on.
Biggest fear.
Huh?
Biggest fear.
Shit. You know, it's funny, I read this question and I couldn't come up with anything.
Really?
There's nothing that I'm like earth-shatteringly scared of that like I hear and go, oh. Now, I know, my fiance commented on that one and wrote lotion, and I really don't like lotion, but I'm not like scared of lotion. I just don't like the feeling of lotion on my hands, on my body. I don't think it's natural, but that's a whole other conversation in itself. But it's hard, like, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what I'm scared of. I don't know if that's a good thing either, or a bad thing to not be scared of things, but like...
I think it's a bad thing.
Why?
Because I feel like being scared of things keeps you on your toes. I feel like when you think or when you are not scared of things, you get cocky and you're like, like nothing can stop me. Or
yeah, but I don't care if I end up taking an L because of like my own egotisticness. That's my own fault. But like, to me, to be scared, right, is debilitating. And like, I just don't understand. I really don't understand that emotion.
I think conscious fear is healthy.
It may be.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that I need to work on as an individual. But like, I'm really struggling to find.
I mean, being scared doesn't mean acting only on emotion. Being scared just means being aware of the things that can go wrong, and like, you know, acting within a reasonable margin of error. You know what I mean? Like being scared doesn't mean like I'm scared of things. Like I'm scared of, you know, like going broke. I'm obviously scared of dying. That's not good. I mean, I'm not like scared, like, oh my gosh, I'm dying every day, but I'm like aware of it. Like it could happen.
Aware and scared is two different things.
Maybe.
Scared to me means that something is impacting you. It may not be prohibiting you from continuing to live or process or whatever, but it's like stopping you. I don't get that. I just, like, my body doesn't ever process like that.
So like I got you right now. You're one of your things that maybe you're not scared of, but that you have a hard time doing, call it whatever you want, is talking to people that you don't know.
Right, breaking the ice.
Breaking the ice, which is something that we're gonna make a video about.
We're gonna make a lot of videos about that.
So that counts, so, actually. That's one.
Okay. Maybe I'm scared of.
I'm not
maybe. Scared.
It's just
difficult. Not something that I normally do.
When you feel that it's difficult to do something, that means that maybe you're not scared of it. Maybe it's just more difficult for you to do. That's what we'll call it. It's not being scared, not being scared.
We'll call it more difficult to do. And I know Taylor's gonna put some weird equation, scared equals this, don't listen to Mike on here. I just know it. I know post-edit it's gonna show up to the left of my face somewhere.
Well, now it's going to.
Yeah, of course. But that was a good question. I gotta tell you, if I'm really frank, like, it's just, like, I don't process like that. I go head first into almost everything. Sometimes I shouldn't. I know that. But I'm okay with the repercussions of doing that. It's just very little exterior shit stops me from processing the way I want to process.
Got a question from the homie. What do you appreciate about art?
So art speaks to me in different ways. I'm not very physically artistic. I feel like we all have different things that we are good at, and that's not something that I know that I'm good at. But it's just, it's the ability to capture a feeling or to capture an essence or create something that's just incredibly fucking dope is really cool to me. And I look at art a little differently than others. I look at art as like an alternative to investing money in like a CD, because at the end of the day, if you're smart about where you're buying art, you're making investments in people that will likely continue to get better and grow followings, and ultimately, you know, your asset increases. It's not just for the money, but it's ultimately a way for me to visibly look at my money where it's not just sitting in a bank somewhere.
I like that. A lot of these are work related. Well,
Ask the poop one.
No, I'm not at. Wait, that question's not on it. Yeah, that was a DM.
Oh, that was in my DM. So, Brow Bitch NYC wants to know how many times a day I poop, or how often do you poop? Now, let me warn you. This is my fiance, so if you want to fuck with her, please go on Instagram and send her some random like DMs. I generally poop once a day. It's usually in the morning. It's like within 20 minutes of waking up, and it's almost clockwork, like every day. Now, if I'm in another city or I'm camping in the woods, it may not be every day, and I think that has something to do with the water and the air. I'm cutting
all of this out.
No, we're in. All right, we'll come back to these questions from Instagram.
No, we're gonna get them right now. Okay, hold on. What's this? How do you keep mindset 100%? I mean, listen, I can't tell you how to keep your mindset 100%. You have to believe in shit that you believe in. I truly believe in me, and I know that there's very little to anything that I can't achieve. I know for a fact that I'll never be like an NBA superstar. I mean, that kind of shit is obvious, because there's a skill set there that I just will never have, right? That's okay. But like when it comes to shit that's realistically attainable, which is pretty much almost anything else, I think it's just about having unbridled passion. And I think people don't do shit they want to do. They do shit they have to do because they're worried about paying the bills. And I get it. I 100% understand. But don't. Like, the minute you stop worrying about money is the minute your world begins to change and your perspective begins to change, because the judgments you make are the judgments that are right for you and not for your pocket. I think I've got a pretty good answer to this as well. Didn't catch your username, but I feel like...
Hold on. Let's
yeah, hold on. Okay, mindset 100%. I mean, I feel like for me, the biggest thing was to stop consuming content. I'm gonna try and record this on both cameras. I think that a lot of people, whether you're an entrepreneur or a content creator or a speaker, whatever the thing you want to do, I think most people fail when they consume too much. Zishan, thank you for your question. My advice to you, along with to stop stressing over every dollar, but rather start focusing long term. my advice would be to stop consuming content for a week or two, at least, maybe a full month. Just cut off YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and start, instead of consuming content, go outside, try things. Go and try to, I don't know, like rollerblade, or if you try photography, try
Jumping out of a plane,
painting, like whatever you have a slight interest in, try that. Literally cut your consumption off. Take the apps off your phone, and I think what you'll find is you will naturally lean, if you had not been, start leaning towards the things that you're meant to be doing. So
I think that was great. Absolutely amazing feedback. Thank you. I think we'll actually let that stay in this vlog about questions for Mike, because it was that great. But let's get to the next question.
Okay, I've got this one. It's kind of business related, but have people you knew previously, like probably from high school, college years, have they treated you differently because of what you've achieved so far?
So I'm going to answer that question in a slightly different way. And I'm going to answer that question about a change that I made about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when I took all of my slacks that were in my closet and gave them away to charity. And I own 3 suits that never get worn, and I decided I was done. And immediately at that point, and this is probably a little more
Done with what?
Done with putting on the costume. Done with playing the role that people want you to play, or society believes is appropriate. And there was another question that we'll segue into after this, because I remember now about this. And I gotta tell you, at the beginning, and still to this day, I get sideways comments about the shorts, or the fact that I'm showing multi-million dollar things in a t-shirt, or the fact that my professional business headshot has a hat in it. Like, and guess what? None of it matters. And anybody that's telling me that it matters is wrong. And anybody that believes that they're right when it comes to the way in which I present myself to the world is absolutely on the wrong page of history. And it will become abundantly clear as we continue to consume more and more on these devices, because nobody gives a fuck anymore about what you look like. They give a fuck about how real you are and the value that you provide to them. So for me, I've seen a huge difference in that period of time, because another funny thing happened when I stopped giving a shit about that and started to be more me. My business blew up. I'm literally doing multiples year after year of what I did the year before. And that's not common in this business. You hear about real estate's stagnant right now, and in some cases it's down. Yet my business is blowing through the roof. And the funny thing is, people that I talk to day in and day out tell me the same thing. They want somebody that's real. So be yourself, and ultimately, like, what people think doesn't matter at all. Nobody's opinion matters. Nobody's. Like, I'm gonna tell you straight out, like, if my fiance was like, you should wear a suit more often, I would probably tell her something that I won't share on this right here. Because at the end of the day, I am pot committed to being me. And a funny thing happened. Now that I'm putting up crazy numbers year after year, some of those same people at the beginning that were talking shit about the way that I'm dressing now come and say, Mike, I love the fact that you do you. So I think that actually answers another question that was in there as well. There was a question somebody asked about, how do you do it without the suit? How do you project professionality? Or
I like it.
What was the question? Because there was more to it than that.
How do you convey professionalism and authority without wearing a suit and tie?
Got it. So listen, you
already kind of answered that.
Yeah, but there's some things that you need to know, right? And this is something that I really believe in. It's not just being yourself. Like, you have to know your shit. Like, I didn't come out and start putting out any content like it's me telling you about real estate or New York until I'd started doing real estate. And at that point, I was doing real estate 7 years when I put out my first video. So I had a plethora of knowledge at that point and experience, and could talk from a variety of different perspectives within the business, and it becomes abundantly clear very quickly when you're dealing with somebody that knows their shit versus doesn't know their shit. So knowing what it is just as important as being you, because that's what people are looking for. They're not just going to give you business because you're you. You have to know what you're doing as well. So the way that I do it is by continually pushing myself to learn more, by continually moving to set new records in my work, and then ultimately sharing those stories. Because when people see success, they see the woohoo! They don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that went behind it. But that's what you want them to see. Both. The blood, sweat, and tears, and the woohoo! So that's my answer to that.
But buzzing in. Any other questions on her?
Let's see.
That way we should answer.
Are we doing any questions or just business stuff? We're doing questions about Mike. Somehow or another, it became business stuff.
No, it can be any questions.
Any questions? That's what TK says right now.
Hold on. Thanks for joining, everybody. Cheers.
Hands to get to your question.
We're already at like 18 minutes. So I don't really know. I think that's good for now.
All right.
There are 4 or 5 more questions that I like, but I'm gonna screenshot them and just save them.
We are definitely 100% going to take some of these other questions and turn these into other future episodes.
Yeah.
So listen, I want to do this more often. I want to give you the glimpse into me and what I feel, because I understand this is not just real estate, and this is not just the vlog, and this is not just business, but I truly feel that the experiences that I have are no different than what you may be going through in your business. And the way in which I process a business decision as a business owner, I truly feel can benefit people all across the world. Because business is business, and at the end of the day, if you're selling real estate or you're selling rubber bands, a lot of the same things still apply. So if there's ever anything that I can do or any advice I can, provide, please feel free, DM, message me, comment in the comments below. We're gonna do more of this because it's fun. So thank you for your time. I hope you learned a little bit more about Mike, and if anybody can figure out what my middle name is, no, we're not gonna do that one. We'll save that for a later episode.